All right, Sam. Sam, are you in good spirits, mate? Are you in good spirits?
Oh, I'm in good spirits now. I'm in good spirits, of course. We did have the big virus going around in the world. Well, before
Well,
the show, turns out my computer got the virus as well.
oh, really?
Yeah,
That's a bit of a downer.
bit of a downer. Turns out there was an audio issues, which can be a problem with the podcast, but it's good. We're here in lockdown.
We're here in
edition,
lockdown,
Sam and John.
stage 3 lockdowns in Australia, and that is why we have not been. We're not in the same place. We may look like we're right next to each other right now, but it's only through the.
High five.
Oh, here we go. Gunsh.
Audio listeners, that was the most amazing thing. You got to see it on YouTube.
You got to jump on YouTube. Sam and John Show on YouTube. Sham and John Show. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyway, Sam, so yeah, this whole lockdown issue is causing a few issues for us and for everybody. Obviously, this is the most important thing. This is the thing that's been affected and what everyone's been talking about.
Yes. But people need the news. They need the Sam and John. They're like, oh, what's this mainstream outlet? I don't understand. I want to hear what Sam and John have to say about it all.
We had one episode last week, and now everyone's just hooked, waiting on bated breath. They cannot wait. April Fool's Day yesterday, Sam.
Oh, yeah. I heard a whole bunch of hubbub online. Oh, we're cancelling it this year. Oh, don't make a joke.
Well, I thought that might have been the case because there was usually the best thing about April Fool's Day is that you go online and social media and all of that, and you can just watch all these, brands having fun with it and all these sort of weird things that they come up with, and it's kind of fun. And I was waiting for the World Health Organization or someone to say, "Oh, we found a cure for coronavirus," but it never happened. Nobody did it. Nobody did anything. It's like, it's like they did cancel it.
The one chance. Yeah, I guess they did. I've never been a huge fan of it, really. I've been duped. I've been duped before.
I think it can be done harshly.
A specific dupe.
I think it can be done harshly.
You could say it's when they do the prank version. Those YouTubes on pranks. Oh, Georgie's dead. Oh, grandmother Georgie. Gone. Oh, just a prank, bro. Just a bit of...
Yeah. I'm not down with that, I've got to say. Something that...
someone here, John, who had a bit of an April Fool going on. So, of course, everyone's trying to find the cure. We're all rushing for it. We're all trying to figure out how we're going to get through this.
I prefer there was one.
Well, there is a Melbourne guy. He's working on it. His name is... what was his name? His name's Michael. So you need to know that.
Mickey.
So that you know who to...
Mickey boy.
Good old Mickey. I'll show you here on the screen if you can see. But what he's done, he's made a little invention.
Oh, why?
He's made his own little invention to show the people. He's made an invention to keep your hands from getting too close to your face, because of course that's how you can, get your germs into your face through your eyeballs and nose and stuff. So his invention, he had a bunch of free time. This is what's happening. A lot of people have a lot of free time. He assembled some magnets, a series of magnets along his face, and the machine was meant to beep or buzz whenever he put his little hands close to his face. However, what actually happened is it beeped when his hands weren't towards his face. So already he stuffed it up. It's got the opposite effect. He needs to always be touching his face. So that's a fail right there. This is almost as bad as my dream inventions.
What's going on? Why is he doing this? I'm not quite sure I follow.
So what he was, because the whole corona, keep your hands away from your face so that you don't eat all the germs, all the virus.
Okay. So it's kind of it's like an electric fence. It's like an electric fence for your hand from your face.
Exactly. But he had it on the reverse pulsations, so it was actually making him want to put his hands towards his face to stop the terrible noise he set up on the machine. Anyway, the magnets, he put them up his nose. This is a lot of fun, but the magnets got stuck in the septum, which I believe is the middle of the schnoz, and then deep inside his brain. Now, I don't know if this was causing some sort of X-Men Magneto. I don't know if this is Magneto's origin story.
Some deep magnet nosebosis.
Yes. I don't remember this in the X-Men, but I'm not too au fait with some of the recent ones that might have doing some recasting. They always recast. They did new Spider-Man every 3 years or something. This could be the new Mr. Magneto. But unfortunately, before he did get the superpowers, the doctors did take it out of his nose. So do be careful out there when you're trying home remedies. And like I said, John, it does remind me a little bit of my dream inventions. So this one's to you, Daniel. Dream inventions, he is dreaming up the world, dreaming of fantastic things to be used by the boys and the girls. That's right. He's a genius, John.
I don't know. I'm not.
He's a genius.
So when you thought when you said someone was working on a cure, I thought it might have been a bit more useful, but this bloke's just got some weird thing to try and keep your hands away from your face. Why don't you just use a bit of willpower?
Well, he might use that in the future. That could be the real secret, the real key. Maybe we have restrictions. Maybe we'll have those little dog collars around our face. That'll be like stage 5 restrictions that we're getting to.
Was this guy like is he not a doctor or is he an engineer? Like, what's his backstory?
He's just got a bit of a hobby. It's just a bit of a hobby, man. I think he's a little nifty with gadgets because he had a bunch of this sort of mechanical stuff lying around.
Yeah, see,
he's an astrophysicist, actually. Astrophysicist by trade, so you'd think he's pretty switched on.
You'd think so. Like, this is what happens to people in lockdown, Sam. They've got too much time on their hands and they start sticking, when you're a kid, you stick Lego up your nose. This guy's sticking magnets up your nose and he thought this will be a great idea.
High-powered. Next level.
We were talking about pranks before, Sam. This sounds like it could be a prank. But our good friend, Alex Jones, has been into a bit of strife lately. Ordered to stop...
Oh, the last few years, really.
Oh, he's just keeping on rolling on, isn't he? Alex Jones ordered to stop selling fake coronavirus cures.
I never said it was a cure. I said it's tooth whitening paste is all I said.
You've been having a bit of a listen. What has he been saying?
I have. And I do have to be careful. I do have to preface this just because he's got such a bad image now, John. It's almost bad business to say that you tune in. But listen, this is an important time in the world. You've got to get all angles of what's happening.
Joe Rogan got him back on and he got away with it. So I think it's fine.
Yeah, well, what would Joe do? What would JR do?
I ask myself every day.
He... Of course, every article you see
about Alex is always negative. It's always 100% negative. Why are they bringing this out? They don't want you to have hope, John. They don't want you to have hope in the cure. They want you to be have fear, so that they can take all your freedoms and liberties.
Apparently,
that's exactly right.
He never actually said that it's a cure for this particular disease. And I have actually listened to the source and listened to some of the ads, and I do kind of agree with it. So there you go. He didn't say that. He said that the silver is like effective against things like other corona diseases, like apparently SARS or whatever. It was silver had some effect on it. And the toothpaste, I think, had silver in it. And he was just loosely making the connection. It wasn't a direct sort of thing. But,
I guess, was he just sort of playing with semantics? I'm not sure because... Obviously, you're right. Coronavirus is like a blanket term for all these type of viruses. And like this particular one that we've got at the moment is called the novel coronavirus, some SARS, blah, 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 blah name. So technically he's kind of like, silver can have an effect against other ones. So maybe it'll do this one. Not saying it will, but
Yeah, I'm not saying it will. Not saying my crew's doing a bad job, but I freaking hate them.
They're crap.
You kind of know.
What sort of thing is it? Maybe I'll just go home. What am I doing here?
I'll just go home. Yep. Stop it. What am I doing?
Go have another drink.
That's the most entertaining part when he loses it. Yeah. Very entertaining. Even if you don't like him, he's so entertaining.
Let's be honest, Sam. We've been into Alex Jones for a while. I've got to say, Alex Jones, back in the day, like way back in the day when he like made Endgame, I watched that and I was like mind blown. I was like...
Endgame movie, all about
the path to globalized takeover.
It's got everything. It just goes into everything. And like when he went into Bohemian Grove and all this sort of stuff. And as much as lately he's absolute batshit crazy, it's the same as David Icke. He talks about the lizards and everything these days. And you're like, whoa, this guy's a total wacko. But then you look at what he says about the monetary system and about, politics and then the pedophile rings in the UK. The dude had a point, and they usually start off really good, and then all of a sudden go just absolute wacko.
Well, that's it. Alex is starting. He even said online, like,
we went with David Icke with these lizard people. I thought that was a little too far, but now the more I study it, I think he's onto something there.
Well, when he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, he was talking about, like, if you look up Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, interdimensional aliens, he talks about that, and I'm sitting there listening to it going, this is exactly what David Icke talks about. And he was bagging him out when he had him on his podcast, but he's talking about exactly the same thing.
So how long before we are talking about the reptilian aliens, John. It's just a matter of time.
I think it is. I mean,
the dark hole that we all go into.
well, look, I've been thinking, Sam. He kind of does have a point. I've actually, hang on. I've got a book. I've got his. Actually, I won't go grab it because it's going to be a big pain in the ass. But maybe I'll bring it onto the next podcast and we can maybe read an excerpt from David Icke's book and see what we think about it. That can be a topic for next time. We'll analyze some of David Icke's thinking and
see
just
if it's got any credit.
see if it holds any water. I was going to
Probably
play
not the best YouTube man. I'll just say YouTube. They're demoting all conspiracy theories, and isn't that exactly what they want you to do? Isn't it? Isn't that the biggest conspiracy of all? Why are they downplaying conspiracies, man?
Well, it is. It's like, we've already said coronavirus about 14 times in this one, so we're going to get way down. Please share this. If you're watching this, please share it with people because YouTube aren't going to boost it up because we're not CNN because they're the arbiters of truth in this land. They're going to give us all our coronavirus information.
News Network. All makes
Corona
sense now,
Network
doesn't it?
News. News. Yeah, no, sorry, that does make sense. Oh, yes.
Don't try to improve on my gold.
I know, Sam. I tell you what, when we were originally going to start this podcast, a few hours before we had all these technical issues, I did have queued up our podcast from like 6 years ago where we tried Super Male Vitality, which is one of Alex Jones's super megas.
Yeah.
So I won't try and find it now. Maybe we can do it a bit later. But yeah, we tried it. And I feel like we put like a drop under our tongue, and then later on in the podcast we're like, oh my god, I feel this is crazy, and then worked out later that it wasn't like supposed to be one drop, it was supposed to be like one dropper's worth. So the amount that we had was like, it was massive placebo effect,
Homeopathy almost. I think I was picking up more on your vibes. I think like, oh well, if John thinks it has that big of an effect, I guess.
Yeah, well, you
were going nuts.
I
do have a clip here if we want to check where Simpsons actually predicted the big corona catastrophe.
Oh, okay, yeah. It does that.
4-minute.
It predicted Donald Trump's presidency.
Yeah, that's right. He was walking down.
All right, let's have a look.
Do you have it on your screen there?
I do, yes.
I'd like to call to order this secret conclave of America's media empires. We're here to come up with the next phony baloney crisis to put Americans back where they belong, in dark rooms glued to their televisions, too terrified to skip the commercials.
Well, I think...
NBC, you are here to listen and not speak.
Oh,
I think we should go with a good old-fashioned public health scare.
A new disease. No one's immune. It's like the summer of the shark, except instead of a shark, it's an epidemic. And instead of summer, it's all the time.
Now, I hate to be the guy who derails what everybody else loves.
He loves being that guy.
But, Janice, we do have standards. This can't be a made-up disease. The only moral thing to do is release a deadly virus into the general public.
We do have something we've been holding on to, but it hasn't been tested. Get over here, NBC.
When is this from?
Well, we certainly believe in testing, but
it's 93.
Oh, it was put up recently.
Wow.
I don't say. Yeah.
Oh, we've got our deadly disease. Now we just have to blame it on something that's in every household. Something that people are a little bit afraid of.
And then
already.
they blamed the cat.
Flu is coming, people.
The cat flu.
So, the cat flu. So there you go. A little bit of a prediction.
Well,
from, The Simpsons.
There you go. See, that's a funny thing. See that little round table thing that was sort of having there? I actually did... I didn't know this whole podcast was going to be about conspiracies, but it looks like it is going to be.
It's going down the rabbit hole.
I showed you this thing the other day. I'll see if I can bring it up. The event... What is it? Event 201.
201.
Now...
all the big heads of the world.
And if you didn't think it were demonetized before...
Yeah. We're going to get deleted. I need to hide my good channel in the back room.
Oh, hang on.
You can make the connection and delete all my channels.
We can watch a bit of this. This is something that happened a couple of months before the outbreak in Wuhan, which was they had the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, had the CDC, Johnson & Johnson, all these big companies and all this kind of thing, and they were all discussing. They were simulating a pandemic that was going to get released, and basically they were trying to do a bit of a think tank thing to see how they would react and how they'd respond. And these different scenarios would keep popping up, and then they'd have to discuss what they would do and how it would affect everyone and how many people would die and all this kind of stuff. And so they did this, and this was literally 2 months beforehand. And just see if we can have a listen to what their simulated thing was. So here we go.
On average, the WHO responds to 200
It began in healthy-looking pigs, months, perhaps years ago. A new coronavirus spread silently within herds. Gradually, farmers started getting sick. Infected people got a respiratory illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia. The sickest required intensive care. Many died. Experts agree unless it is quickly controlled, it could lead to a severe pandemic, an outbreak that circles the globe and affects people everywhere.
The mission of the Pandemic Emergency Board is to provide recommendations to deal with a major global
It's just weird,
challenges
Sam.
arising in response to an
And then
unfolding
you have all these
pandemic.
people
The
brainstorming.
board
They
is
talk
comprised
about
of highly
getting rid
experienced
of
leaders
fake
from
news
business,
on
public
YouTube
health,
and Twitter.
civil
People have had their tweets
We
and
could be
YouTube
looking
videos
at double
deleted
the number
for
of cases
possible
in 1 week
misinformation.
and 16 times
Yeah,
as many
I
in
mean,
1 month if we are not
lockdown.
able to stop the spread.
Let's see if we
That would
can.
be on the order
Yeah.
of
So this is
half a
all this
billion cases.
fake data they're talking
Continue to
about.
rise
But
exponentially.
I just
In 3
I'll
months,
cut the sound there. But it was very very interesting. I think.
Yeah, and just a couple of months beforehand. Is it just a coinkydink?
Could be. Anyway, I'll stop it there because otherwise it's going to go on and on. But
Yeah, we've got enough copyright claims now.
yeah. So
From The Simpsons.
yeah, it's just anyway. I'm not saying this is that anything is ill toward. It was just very weird coincidence, and it has conspiracy people like going off their heads, like, oh,
And
see,
here's
this is
my
exactly
thing.
what it is.
Yeah, you see it in the comments on that video. How come Bill Gates? How come he's all about global viruses and stuff? He's like, oh, I'm Bill Gates. I made a good computer, and now I'm going to save the world. Why does making a computer save the world? I don't understand the connection there.
Well, but there's
I
another
wanna
thing.
show you one more thing.
They're making the computer made him all the money, and so now he can save the world with these vaccines and all this kind of stuff. It's the money. Being rich means he can. Anyway, lay it on me, Sam.
Come on, 52 floppy A discs. Windows used to. Have a look at this. Hoarding,
Let me
John.
check you
It's
up, hang
not
on.
just humans now. Gorillas are stockpiling to get through the crisis as well. John, it has jumped species. Even the gorillas are going crazy.
This
This
is
is a
journalism. Like
Kara. Yep.
this
This is
they've
Kara
lost
the
the
gorilla.
plot.
2 cucumbers or half a zucchini cucumber thing in her mouth, hoarding 2 lettuces, keeping it from the group, saying, no, these are my lettuces. You can't have them. Meanwhile, the shelves are clear of lettuces, and Kara isn't really caring at all, is she? Just hoarding it all for herself. So, guys, see, and look, just like
Sorry, that's me going off. Bloody hell.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
She's always been a bitch, though.
Virus.
That gorilla.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're in chats with the other gorillas, the pecking orders and everything. But
Well,
poor Kara. Not even Kara.
That's the funny thing, Sam, about all this hoarding that's going on. I went to the shops today and everything's kind of back on the shelves, except for stuff like flour and like salt. And it's like everyone's just decided as a pandemic, I'm going to take up baking now. Cool. I haven't done it. I'm going to be like an Amish person and, bake damper and all this kind of stuff now. It's not going to happen. It's going to be sitting in their cupboard, all 47 kilos of it, for the next 10 years.
What's your toilet paper situation at your shops? I contacted people from around the world in my last Sam Time live show. People were pretty stocked up, and even on the shelves there were.
I think it's all right now. I haven't checked because we buy like the 20 packs anyway, so we kind of have been kind of cool. We wrote it out. We didn't stockpile, but us buying a 20 pack is kind of stockpiling. But I've made a point, when I was going to the shops, I was trying to make a point not to, even when it was like empty and you'd finally get something that you wanted back on the shelf, I was trying not to overbuy. I was trying to be like, all right, now look, I should get 2. And it's like, no, I'm just going to get 1. I would usually get 1. The whole reason we're having this rubbish is because people are buying more than they would.
They got restrictions on some of them. I couldn't get more than 2 beans.
There you go. Beans. Everyone's going to eat beans now as well. Like everyone's just, the staples. I guess it makes sense.
Beans and rice.
See,
For survival.
one of my friends
We've
actually
ruined the world,
emailed.
John.
I know, but like one of my friends actually emailed me and said, "Oh, we should have been listening to Alex Jones back in the day and stockpiled and got the freeze dried food and the you've got the life straw, Sam."
I've got 2 life straws in secret hidden locations. No one taking my straws.
Because that's what's going to happen next. People are going to be, all anarchy's going to break loose, and people will be breaking in and looking for life straws, and it's going to be on for young and old.
I filled up my tub. I filled up my tub with water because that's what you do in a crisis. You never know if you're going to have access to water. However, there's a slow leak in it, so it all just disappeared.
Your bathtub. You're going to drink bathtub water. Is that what you're saying?
My life straw, John.
Oh, through the life straw. And
a survival situation.
But you're not going to bathe in it first, presumably.
No. Well, if it comes to that, 3rd month, 4th month, things start getting small, start getting desperate.
Better be a good life straw.
Not enough life straws in the world. Life straw shower head. That's what we all need.
This is
But
true.
John, we are ruining the world.
Who's who? You or me?
They're not making any new movies. Everyone. We're all ruining it. And especially Hollywood. They're not making any new movies at the moment. Everything's on hold. So I was wondering, John, can I also ruin all movies past and future coming up for you? I have information.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Spoil
I enjoy movies.
every movie.
I enjoy movies.
But it's very interesting, though. So that's the counteraction. Like, it spoils every movie, but you do get one little fun fact for it. A little fun fact, which is it's an industry idea. I don't know.
It's like when we went to Warner Brothers.
You can decide.
Lay it on me. Come on.
Well, I was just going to say, it's a lose-lose for you, because either you say yes, we get the fun fact, but then you ruin all movies, or you say no, and then people say, what was the fun fact? So I've put it all on you, the burden.
I'm used to hate mail. But anyway, all right, bring it in.
Turns out that this is coming from director Rian Johnson, which people may know from directing the Star Wars, the last hope of it being any good edition.
No, but anyway.
The Last Jedi that people thought weren't too great. So he's ruined Star Wars, and now he's set to ruin every movie in that...
he's just throwing the table over.
If you ever see an iPhone, it's like, screw it, the internet's mad at me, I'll make them even more. iPhones, John. You see iPhones in movies, bit of product placement. Turns out part of the agreement with Apple tends to be that bad guys aren't allowed to use an iPhone. Which means any mysteries, if they're using Android, it means, well, they could be the bad guy. And if they have an iPhone, it's not him. Can't be him.
Oh, my God. So what's the deal, though? Like, why are they making deals with Apple? Or is Apple just, they've gone to them and said, look, we will give you X amount if you make sure that no bad guys use an iPhone?
Yeah, that's what I figure. This is some sort of product placement. You know, they go to a vending machine in World War Z, and they just out of nowhere just has a Pepsi, has a full can.
I've seen that one. Yeah, and
back on with the movie. So
it's so lame because at least when you go to the cinema to see a movie, you expect it from a sitcom. You expect it from a reality show or a cooking show or a lifestyle show. You expect them like, oh, I'm going to get this out of the oven, and it's like schmeg. But all that, look, we're going to grab some master food spice, and they zoom right in on it. Like, you expect that kind of thing. But when you're watching a piece of art, a film in the cinema, you don't expect to see this product placement crap.
Don't compromise your vision. That's what I saw with... I didn't know that with Huey's Cooking. Aussies will know Huey's Cooking. I didn't know that was all sponsored, all those little items that he would have shown up. Here's this cooking cube. I was watching one on YouTube.
This particular branded cube.
Exactly. Marco Pierre White, I was watching some recipes that he had, and it's like, dang, he really loves these little jelly flavorings that he puts in. He says, get your stock pot, put that in, blah, blah, blah. It's like, wow, he really loves them. He puts them in everything. And then I realised, hang on, it's probably sponsored by.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They go like, oh, all right, we need 47 recipes with these jelly stock cubes. Oh, God, jelly stock cube milkshake. Here we go.
There we go, a little turkey. Turkey shake is delicious.
I'm going to, if that does ruin it for me, Sam, I'm going to be, I do like it though. I'm glad you told me.
It's your own fault though.
Well, I almost ruined something. I almost ruined something today. I wanted to get like a little thing to pop up down here. Audio people, that's a YouTube video
graphic
thing, like a little graphic to pop up. Because you were watching Tiger King, which is like just going off. Everyone's watching Tiger King. And you told me about Tiger King.
Netflix.
You told me to get on it. So I've started watching. I've got 2 episodes to go, so we can't talk about it too soon. I'm going to watch them tonight because I wanted to get like a little GIF so that like every time we were talking about something bad that happened, we could say it was Carol Baskin. Anyway.
Watch the show.
Watch the
You'll
show.
know.
It is really, really good. But the thing is, I started looking for like a GIF or some sort of little clip like that, and I just type in Tiger King, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden, all these like clues of like what comes up next started coming up, and I almost ruined it for myself. And I could tell there's a big bombshell coming. I think I've ruined a big part of it for me already. But anyway, just that's the hardest thing. Whenever if you don't binge watch something on Netflix, you just got to stay off the internet, basically, if it's popular.
That's happened. I don't know if it's Netflix or maybe on Stan, one of those streaming platforms. At the end of a season that someone watched, it showed like an ad for the just released latest season. Meanwhile, they're watching season 1 or 2. They don't know all that story. So then the ad plays and has all these spoilers, plop, 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 auto-played on their screen.
See, this is great.
The real issue.
This is the same thing. We're just having a big whinge fest now about streaming things. But I tell you what, we used to have the NBA app, and it happens on ESPN as well. Like I love watching the NBA, watching on ESPN. I used to have the NBA app, and it used to be that as soon as you open the app, it would have all the current scores, like all of the results. But you'd open the app to watch the games. So you'd go to watch the games, you open the app, and there are the scores right in front of your face. And what's the point now? Or you'll be watching one game on ESPN, and then in the little ticker down the bottom, it gives you the score of all the other games that you're going to watch after. So we live in a world of too much information.
Ruined basketball. Yeah.
I just got to bring back the VHS tape.
Yes. I sometimes miss VHS because I got some DVDs from cash converters. In fact, here's a DVD I got. They got them for $1, really cheap. I don't know what people trade them in for. Whew. But I saw a Bill Cosby DVD. And I was like, interesting. Because we all know the naughtiness that he's been up to over the years.
Extreme naughtiness. Like when you talk about naughtiness, there's like Louis C.K. naughtiness, and then there's like Bill Cosby cosmonaut naughtiness.
Yeah. He's in the stratosphere with his. Oof. But before that came to light, he was apparently got all the accolades, and he's like, oh, what a great comedian, what a master. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna pick this up, this show, and there were actually a few copies. I can imagine why people were trying to offload them. But
and I was like, I don't want to be seen buying this.
Let me separate the art from the artist, sort of thing. What happened?
Separate the art from the arsehole.
Yeah, I mixed it up with a bunch of other DVDs to kind of mix, because they had to find the DVD and put it in. So like,
how'd this get in here?
Oh, whoops. Oh, jeez. It was, I think there was a bit of a chit chat, and then it kind of quietened down, especially when that DVD came up. So, anyway.
That's so funny. They're the ones selling
Put
it.
it in the DVD.
They're the ones selling it. They bought it in the first place.
What judgment do they have? Don't look at me like that. You had it on your shelf. You're charging me money for this, okay?
Yeah.
So I put it in, and it was crap. It was like, this guy's the best comedian of the time or whatever. It's like terrible. It's just like,
You see, hey, my friend helped me because he doesn't have a wife. And when they have a wife, if you don't drug them and rape them, then they're terrible.
and that's well, part of that was taken out.
That really should have given it away.
More PG than that.
But that was the thing. He was very PG, and we used to apparently call up like Eddie Murphy and all these other people that were popular around the time, and just berate them for using the curse words, and you shouldn't be cursing on stage, and just having a go. And apparently he used to do other weird stuff, like invite all when he was on the road or whatever, he'd invite all the crew, or when he was on TV, and he'd say all the crew, like when it was lunchtime, they had to make him like his curry, and he'd say everyone has to come into the room and watch him eat.
Wow.
Just this is the other one I heard. The security guard, he'd have a security guard, and when he was like at a hotel or whatever, he'd call the security guard in to come and tuck him into bed.
The big tough security man.
Well, I guess,
Come
yeah.
Took me in there, Charlie. Wow. Don't mind the big bump in the bed. That's nothing. Just that human size.
Who's next?
So
Who's next on this list?
He did commit 2 crimes. He committed the crime of the obvious crimes, and also he committed a crime on stage of that was just a terrible set. So in the bin.
And that cannot be forgiven. I mean, they both can't be forgiven.
It doesn't mean the other one's any less forgivable than the others. Just everything's unforgivable.
Oh, God.
Okay.
All right.
So I went through the embarrassment of buying that for nothing. That's the
You wanted to see what was there. I mean, when people talk about James Brown, like he was an arsehole. He was a wife beater and all this kind of crap as well. But, people can still groove to his tunes. So they're like, maybe you can separate the man from the mischief. But not in this case. He's just like, who knows what the allure was there.
I don't understand.
I want to tell you a funny story, Sam. Since we're getting in trouble anyway for that last segment, might as well get in trouble again. I was watching TV the other day, watching family TV at a family hour.
Of course.
While we're having dinner or whatever like that. And Telstra, who's the Australian telecommunications, one of those, like an AT&T in America, ad came on. And they've been having a lot of these like lifestyle ads and feel good kind of things. And this one was this baby was like in the crib, and there's the dad and other dad there. Must be like couple looking after their kid. And I can't even remember how the ad goes, but anyway, it's like this touching moment between the kid and the parents and blah 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 blah. And the ad finishes, and there's a couple of seconds of silence, and my son turns to me and goes, "Dad," so yeah. Why are there so many gay ads on now?
Generation Z, man. The Zoomers.
And that's it. And I was thinking about it. Because I think it's just this whole virtue signaling thing where, like, Gillette got into a big thing recently where, with the Me Too thing and all this sort of thing. But I said to him, I don't know if you agree, I sort of said, well, gay people weren't allowed to be on TV at all or like talked about much ever for ages, and then now all of a sudden like it's cool, it's okay, so they're just catching up. It's almost like oversaturation just to catch up.
It could be that, or it's just because it's such a thing now. Even if it is that, it feels more like they're just doing it. Oh, look at us, look how fancy we are. Here's an example. Watching the Ozarks. It's a Netflix show.
I've heard of this.
It has
people are excited about it.
Strong characters in it, a lot of strong female characters in it, but it's not as if like, greatest person in the world and all the men suck and telling the men how to do stuff. Like, it's just everyone's a cool, strong character, and they're all working for a Mexican drug cartel, and they're all guns are blazing and all sorts of cool actions happening. It's not trying to send a message of. Well, it's probably sending a message that don't get mixed up in a Mexican drug cartel and launder their money.
Well, it's a good message. I agree with that message.
That is a good message. That's a message we can all get behind, I think, which is great.
So
but it just doesn't shove it down your throat, which I think some things do nowadays.
Yeah, and it's just good. It's almost like the good positivity that the whole movements have talked about what they're behind. They want that kind of thing to happen. But they think the way to get there is to go so far the other way that it somehow balances it out with how everything used to be. When really, we should just go ahead with the final result that we want to have, which is the
final solution.
No, not the final solution. Anyway. That was a joke from before the podcast. You almost have to explain that now.
We were trying to fix the audio, and we were trying to fix the audio, and I said, maybe we'll try one more thing. This will be the final solution. And then
and I said something along the lines of, someone trying that in the past and it not going so well. But anyway.
John said that, everyone. John said that. See, for the videos viewers, they'll see that my Sam Tum logo is in the back. I need to cover that up because it's like the blue wiggle. When you've got the wiggle shirt on, you've got to be very wiggly. And
this is it. This is your outlet, Sam.
Like, opinionated.
Not that you're overly PC on your Sam Time YouTube channel, but at least this is supposed to be an open place where we can say whatever we feel like. And
is this a safe place, John?
It's a safe space. We don't offend anybody here.
Good. Okay.
That's good. But yes, the same as I probably wouldn't be putting my business logo up on this YouTube, iTunes podcast
double standards
website
now, isn't it?
Either. So, but anyway, it does look good. It's a good backdrop. Better than my, nice. 80s portrait photography session back here.
Everyone get a nice family photo in John's background. I've got a good news as my last little story here, John. Possible good news. If people know Punxsutawney Phil from Groundhog Day.
Yes.
He's the groundhog.
The little groundhog.
The groundhog who decides whether it's going to be a late winter or an early spring. Does he see a shadow? Does he not see a shadow? Well, he's done it for 2020, John, and I figure We've listened to all the so-called experts online, and we've also listened to
Oh,
all
about
the
how
conspiracy crazy people.
2020 is going to be like the worst ever and all that kind of thing. Is that where you're going with this? Or
Yeah. So I think we really need to speak to the authority on these sort of issues, which is Punxsutawney Phil, John,
yeah,
the groundhog of knowledge. So here's the
Bring it
little
on.
video here.
You want to unlock the lock?
They're unlocking the lock. They're bringing out the beaver. They take their time, so I'll just
can you turn it up?
See if I
Turn the video up.
bit of uppage.
We'll tap the cane, or with the cane, we're going to tap the doors 3 times. AJ and John will get Phil out for the world to see, and then we'll set him on top of the red carpet here and give him the red carpet treatment this morning and see if there's
Here comes the
what he
taps.
says.
This is exciting. I've never seen this in real life.
Tapped for the beaver.
Gentlemen, get Phil out.
This is real. Groundhog Day was real. Even the reversing of time was real, but we don't know that because we're outside of Bill Murray's perspective. But everything in that was true. Okay, I'll just skip ahead to that.
I say him.
Oh, is the whole thing that I forget what it is. Does he have to come out or does he not come out and then that decides it? What decides it?
Punxsutawney Phil.
He's out, John. Just there he is.
They
Some
literally-
people do have a problem with him whooshing him out. He's been held up in front of the crowd. He's a little uncomfortable. I'm like, come on.
Oh, bloody
Let's
Peter
give
are
him
going
a
to have a
cuddle.
field day.
Oh, they do. They've had a lot of complaints.
He's just giving him a cuddle.
But this is it. This
Oh, so is this the deciding
is the
point?
decision.
So what does he have
He
to do?
decides.
I can't remember.
He picks a scroll.
This is one to you.
He has to pick the scroll. Except, look, did you see it? People on the video would have seen he was suggested a scroll by the Penguin from Batman here on the right. So he has been suggested, and it's been a little duped. It's been a little duped.
He didn't even do anything. He just sat there and then they're like,
Was awakened from his burrow.
He was a little lazy today. Maybe he's got a bit of the otter corona or something.
Of his faithful followers.
what are they on about? So what did he say?
It's a filled fantastic.
Let's just skip to the decision.
So do I hope you think it's neighborly,
Here it is.
for there is no shadow of me.
There is no shadow, John.
It'll be early. It's a certainty.
It's a certainty, John. Yes, there is. He didn't see a shadow. Things are going all right. It's going to be an early spring. Winter won't last long.
So
Believe him.
winter is not coming. So they're in
Winter
winter.
is not coming, or
I'm confused.
America
Sam.
they are. They're in a little bit of winter.
That-
Okay,
that-
so
that
listen.
dude-
Winter, America's in winter, and it's going to be a short winter. What more do you need to know?
But the groundhoggy thing was just sitting there doing 2 parts of stuff all, and they just shoved one in front of his face and said, that's the good one. Is that what happens every year, Sam?
Yeah, I haven't seen the previous years unless the man was simpatico with the groundhog and he divined that was the scroll he was going for anyway, and he just picked up the pace a little bit using his psychic.
I don't like it, Sam. I
You
think
want to know
it's
the accuracy?
the accuracy.
You're a deny.
I'm
you're
a,
a
I'm a, I'm a,
Punxsutawney
yeah,
denier,
I
are you,
am.
John?
I am.
Okay, so here is for video viewers, they should be able to
Boy,
see
hang on.
a lot of.
What's going on here,
confusion
Sam?
happening
You've
here.
you've given us some
There we
sort
go.
of
Don't worry.
tunnel of death.
Yeah, I activated the tunnel of doom. But Punxsutawney, he's been very pessimistic. Here we have a graph showing all these little yellow, blue parts. They show all the times that he's predicted a long winter, which is 103 times compared to only 20 times he's predicted an early spring.
Okay.
And, well, there's been about 9 times that he hasn't bothered. Actually, 10 times he hasn't bothered actually predicting. So he's been a bit sleepy and lazy.
I argue that this particular time that you just showed, he did not choose. I'm putting it out. He did not choose.
Wow. Are you... Well, I'm not picking a fight with...
I'm picking a fight with the Penguin. That's what I'm telling you.
All right, well, there you go. This will be the next Batman. Very exciting. Announced here on Sam and John. The people who run the show claim there's about 100% accuracy rate.
Oh, just roundabout. Round it up. Yeah. Round it up from
Yes.
anything below 100.
And, well, it seems to go 80 to 100, so he's pretty high up there.
Okay.
According to officials. But he does have naysayers, unbiased opinionators do say it's less than chance. They are saying 35 to 40%.
Less than chance
on
is...
that one. Yeah.
That's pretty bad because, like, I mean, is there some sort of arbitrary way of deciding whether the winter or spring has started early or late? Is that like up for debate, or is it every year? It's like, 'cause I mean, I really want to get to the bottom of this, Sam. I love how it said that the war clouds blocked it for a couple of times. Like, oh, I can't see my shadow because there's too many war clouds in the way.
The war clouds happened once in 1942, and there were some war clouds at that time.
I'm sure there was.
Sense. And he did predict some winters along there as well.
Something to do with that final solution you were talking about earlier, Sam.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Punxsutawney Phil was right on the money, wasn't he? He knows what's going on.
He was.
So we need, unless he's working in collaboration with the. I don't want to throw any accusations, but he has an unnaturally long life for a groundhog. So how did he accomplish
sold his
that?
soul
I'm
to the
not
devil.
saying anything there.
Him and Robert Johnson.
Yeah, the penguin there in the footage. He's a villain in the movie characters. So the plot does thicken.
The plot does thicken.
This could be. We'll tune in next year. We'll see what
That's
he says
right.
next year.
And I think it's quite telling of this. This is the most amount of time we've spent on this podcast too, figuring out the accuracy of Punxsutawney Phil. The movie is brilliant, though, Sam. That's one thing that I have to say. The movie is brilliant.
You can never tell if Bill Murray's enjoying himself or not. He always looks a little dissattlefied.
That's part of his charm.
In any movie,
he's just a melancholic.
Part of his charm.
He's just a melancholic idol, like that's his shtick. But he's like kind of like the epitome of that melancholic feeling that everybody feels. But he's kind of like the embodiment of it. He's like the melancholic Buddha.
Melancholic Buddha. There he is. Get him sitting on a little golden throne. Worship that.
Cross-legged.
Bill. If he can accomplish it, he's getting a little old.
I've heard a funny Bill. Maybe you told me this actually. I think my wife told me a funny Bill Murray story. Is that apparently he was sitting down. He was in a restaurant and there was some other people at a restaurant, and he was getting up to leave, and he just walks over to someone's table, picks up a chip off their table, eats it, just looks at him and goes, "No one will ever believe you," and he leaves. But the person that told that story.
That's good. I like that.
Must have told it, and so maybe it wasn't true. Maybe I'm not sure I believe them.
And now we believe it. Oh, we have to get Punxsutawney on this one as well.
We do.
Did it happen?
We do.
I do see a Bill Murray. It's opposite to Bruce Willis though. He doesn't like making movies anymore. I guarantee. He hates it.
Bruce Willis.
He hates showing up. See him in any interview. He's just over it. He's over it. Does it for the money. Calling him here today. I'm calling you out, Bruce.
Has he been in anything
Come
recently?
on the pod. Prove me wrong.
Has he been in anything
I just remember
lately?
an interview he did. Yeah, he's probably having a nap, really. It's like he's
worked hard. He was in Pulp Fiction, one of the
factors.
one of the best movies ever made. Die Hard, it's just a classic.
Oh, Die Hard's a classic. That's when he had energy, when he had pep. He's losing his pep. But there's an interview he did with someone, and it's a little infamous. I believe it was for the movie Red. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to see if I can look it online. A Bruce Willis interview, because he has a little bit of a tiff with the. Oh, here it is.
Look that up, Jamie.
Here it is. Let me get this. I'm
you've
doing
done
the
it again.
Infinite Tunnel again. So for those, just a little extra spice if you're watching online. But here's a bit of Bruce. Take it away, Brucey. I think this is where he gets annoyed.
I was on set just before Christmas, and the two of you were cracking each other up quite a lot. Is it fair to say you share a silly sense of humour?
Yeah, and I think we see the movie in a similar way. So,
Yes. You don't have a nickname for each other?
Delicate vibe. Well, the characters had nicknames, didn't we? Like Love Muffin and
Spanky,
Sparkles.
This is.
We did have a lot of those
Bluebird.
endearments.
Now, according to my brilliant research, you were both born on an army base, I believe. Is this true?
I was.
No.
He's half asleep, John. He's in a dressing gown.
Then I was.
Fort Jackson.
Okay, so I'm not sure if that's exactly the clip, but it is that interview space for Red where he's just totally over it. He has a go with the interviewer. I don't believe that's the actual one where he gets a little pissed off, though.
That's right. Well, I mean,
here it is. Let me just quickly...
All right. Bring it on,
John. We'll quickly play this, and then we'll blame someone else.
Did you go to Istanbul?
Oh, not in this film. I thought you just were saying my favorite. In general, I like this standpoint. It's a pretty cool place to go.
At least it proves I've seen the film, which is a good thing.
Oh, it is a different interview, yeah.
Has any actor ever told you this, Jamie? This part is not acting, what we're doing right now. You might be, but we're just selling the film now. Sales. That fun part was making the movie.
He's so over it. He's like, look, this isn't fun. This isn't acting. This is annoying.
But see, the guy, come on. But he's on TV, right? He's on TV. Like, he's there. You're supposed to be, engaged in doing this thing. He's just like, I don't even want to be here. I'm just,
Yeah.
The fun part's making the movie.
Selling.
It reminds me of Mick Malthouse is the coach of Collingwood, the AFL, for all you people in other parts of the world that don't understand this game that's only played here. Well, anyway, Collingwood, you know the team. Used to be the coach years and years ago, and he was the same when they used to interview him after the game. Like, he was just like, he'd just rip into them and just like call them all idiots. That's a stupid question. Move on. He was the Trump of like football for years.
It's stupid. I was if inside 50. The goal should be mine. I kicked it. It came off my boot. The wind was wrong.
I saw him the other day. He was doing a press conference about, what everyone's talking about. And he was just having a go. Like, all these people, these journalists are trying to catch him in something. And he's like, look, why are you being so negative? And then like CNN said something. He's like, tell the whole quote. See, this is why no one watches CNN anymore. You're all just fake news. Nobody likes you. You're wrong. You're just stupid news. No one. It was great.
He just has to go.
Just ripping in.
It's like, oh, there you go. So different from the norm. We have entered the wormhole of interesting times.
Oh, we have. I mean, maybe this is the best sort of evidence that we are in some sort of weird simulation, and someone's just tweaked the parameters a little bit. I mean, we've got Trump is actually the president, has been for a while now. We've got this weird virusy thing. I predicted it by the
way. We'll have to find the old podcast episode. I predicted it.
Predicted what?
Thank you. Trump was going to win. We had a guess. We guessed.
Ah, that's right. No one was thinking it, and I do remember that one. But this is the weird thing. And then what else has been I reckon there could be some weird tweakage to the simulation.
To the algorithm.
Speaking of simulate,
it's like YouTube. They're always doing experiments
with the algorithm. Yeah, they're just messing with the universe algorithm. Like, Elon Musk loves this whole simulation theory and everything. My hope for this whole worldwide pandemic thing is Elon Musk will just figure it out soon. Surely, we can surely just pin our hopes on him.
Yeah. Well, he's already got the spaceships that land themselves upright.
Yeah.
He's got roofs that just generate power but look like normal roofs. He's got electric cars that aren't lame, so it's not big of a jump to just.
Not really. I think he doesn't think this is a big deal though. He's been getting in a lot of trouble lately for putting up tweets saying, it's not a big deal, and all the rest of it.
Interesting. And you have to say that, John, or else then you get deleted from everything.
Yeah. Oh, there were calls to ban him because he's been irresponsible. And not, not.
Well, that's the tricky time. It's like you got to make sure you have the right information out there and all that. But what if it is a trap?
So the government's trying to take all your liberties, John, and you have to agree or else you get deleted off the platforms. You must submit.
This is the thing. We're talking about the conspiracy theorists going off their rockers because of all this stuff. And it is true. If you were going to engineer a situation, nice mug, by the way, Sam.
Ah, yes, delicious. Not for sale anymore.
Oh well, there you go.
We'll have to put it up. We'll have to bring it back.
We'll bring it back. But if you were going to create the perfect storm of totalitarianism, this is the best way to do it. Everybody's freedoms have been taken away. The economic system is completely getting turned on its head. You could come back in and do whatever you like with it. So I haven't even been checking in with them, but they're probably going absolutely crazy and just this is our time right now.
Yeah.
But
if I go outside and I'm not doing anything essential, that's like a $1,200 fine or something in Victoria.
Yeah, this is
a so-called free country.
Well, that's not even the half of it, Sam. You go to India. You know what India has done? They've done lockdown.
roughly heard they did a bit of a bang bang in the noggin.
I don't think they have they. I don't think they have done it.
I don't think they've probably done it.
I think that's their plan. Like they literally said, all right, we've got curfews, we got lockdowns. You're not allowed to be outside. We've got shoot to kill orders if you're outside.
Wow. So
I'm pretty sure they've said that.
That way. Yeah.
But that's the thing in these Asian and like Indian like cultures. Everyone's a lot more, maybe not, in the Asian cultures at least, like China and all the rest of it, like everyone's a lot more compliant. Like they don't have this notion of like individual freedom and all this kind of thing. It's like you just do what the government says. And it's probably because they'll shoot you if you don't. So I guess if that went on for a while, you would have that kind of thing. But I know in China they've been tracking everybody like the way they've been doing it, and in South Korea and all that, they've been tracking everybody through their phones and all this kind of stuff, and like everybody in real time and figuring out who's been in contact with who to try to get with who's been infected and all this kind of stuff. And we were talking about what if that happens here, and then what if once this all gets solved, they don't actually reverse that, and then we have this all the time. But I was thinking maybe China can do that, but like the amount of computing power that would be needed to track all those people in Australia, we can't even get like the Centrelink website to work. Like no one's got a job. Everyone jumped on Centrelink and it just completely went tits up. The NBN is like a joke. So I think we're safe
for the internet in Australia.
Yeah, our government is so inept that we're not going to succumb to tyranny.
Another reason to get a BlackBerry. Don't succumb to the Australian tyranny. They won't be bothered tracking the BlackBerries.
You have been on the BlackBerry train for a long time. I can't believe you've survived as long as you have, Sam. I mean, it's not quite a dumb phone.
I love it. Oh. It's good. It's between a dumb phone and a smartphone. It's like a slightly bright, little bit dim phone.
Kind of like a gifted child that never grew up.
That's it. So we're all going to get in trouble on this episode.
Why? You know, I mean, that's what we're here for, Sam. That's why we're so desperate to get this podcast out, because we haven't copped enough hate. And we've just started again. We had our first go back after, God, what has it been, like 2 years? I think we had a bit of a teaser last year where we came back for one episode, some Christmas special, and it was, oh, this is great, it's back. And then we didn't do another one for a whole other year. And
now we've got two.
Now we've got two. And I think there might be some more. I don't know. I reckon people would just probably, here they go again, the pod that cried wolf. But I think...
Yeah, it's like John starts a new YouTube channel. Yeah, we'll see how long this starts. Oh, yeah, one video. Okay.
I've been thinking of starting a new one, Sam. For people that don't know, we've been doing this podcast on and off for like the last 6 years, and the ongoing joke is that I start a new YouTube channel all the time, put like 1 or 2 videos up there, then I delete it, then I start another channel. I've got like 20 channels on the go. But anyway, I'm thinking of starting another one because we're in lockdown now, Sam. A lot of my work's got
the time
in limbo. I've got the time. I'm at home. I got the setup now, so I might start a new one where I just talk about my thoughts, Sam, because people are interested in that, aren't they?
Yes, that's never been done before.
No, it's not.
I think it's good to go.
And I love the sound of my own voice. So there you go.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? I edit myself many hours a day just to see that sweet face, high definition. We all have our weaknesses.
We do, Sam.
I understand.
We do. I love it.
Okay.
I think we've had a good conversation.
Good lockdown pod.
Good lockdown pod.
Good little lockdown pod.
Let us know in the comments. No, still no intro or outro.
Yeah.
It was hard enough just to get this conversation to happen. And I'm pretty sure that we'll watch the video back and everything will be out of sync and all weird and everything. But just, if that's the case,
It'll
people,
be terrible. Delete
close your eyes,
not worth it.
Listen, or go to the podcast. Everyone who's watching on YouTube, go to iTunes, look at Sam and John, and download us there. You'll be able to get us there. And let us know in the comments how you're doing in lockdown. Because...
surviving. What's your toilet paper situation? Are there gorillas hoarding the veggies? Do you have access to lettuce?
That is a weird thing.
Let us know.
I wonder if that'd be like one of those things where, like, you know how cats and everything, they say they can hear feel a storm coming, or like the animals fly away before an earthquake comes, or that kind of thing. Maybe if we just took the time to notice, if we saw the animals hoard, the squirrels, hoarding all the acorns in the tree like ahead of time, we might have we might have got ahead of this. We might have, if we're in tune with nature to that degree, we may have seen this thing coming.
That's right. I think crows will be all right. They hoard shiny, silvery things, so they've got all the silver. They'll be ready for when that jumps. Precious metals.
Well, according to Alex Jones, they're
preppers.
No, according to Alex Jones, then they'll be fine because the silver will cure them of the coronavirus when it eventually goes across to birds. They're well ahead of the curve.
Something. And vegetables probably help your immunity system. Probably just general health. So the gorillas are onto it as well. We need to be more in tune.
All right, I've had enough of your conspiracy theories. All right.
Okay.
All right,
Good
Sam.
show, everyone.
It's been real.
I only regret some of the things we've said. So as long as it's less than half.
Only most. Okay, maybe less than half.
Only most.
We'll get the ratio working for us in
Slightly
the future.
Less. So,
all the best, Sam, in lockdown.
Yeah. Stay funky, John, and everyone out there.
Oh, yeah. How do I turn this thing off?
Nice.